Hi there, I'm here again in Pink Sofa Conversation, and this time I have Tim, the Mindful Baker, with me. Hi Tim, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Yourself?
Very good. Tim, thank you for making the time. I met you through the Airbnb experiences. Just by coincidence, we kind of went to the same meeting and we started a conversation. And you explained me what you do, which is quite of a fascinating combination. Give the audience an understanding of what your passion is and what you do as a mindful baker.
So, yeah, Mindful Baking is my business. That's what it's called. And I teach people how to bake. And predominantly at the moment, I'm teaching people how to bake sourdough. Although I'm also doing pizza, sourdough pizza as well. But when it comes to local sourdough, that takes 36 hours to create from start to finish. And the whole point of why I'm sort of combining mindfulness with sourdough is sourdough takes 36 hours, like I said, and that's a long time to make a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
And to lead a sort of mindful existence is an instantaneous thing. You know, you have to sort of spend time observing yourself and acknowledging yourself and falling in love with yourself, making yourself a better sort of person through utilizing all of the techniques that I introduce to people at the workshops which I do. So bearing in mind, like I say, it takes 36 hours. Obviously, we're not there for 36 hours. I do all of the 12 hours before.
Yeah.
They meet up with me. We have 5 hours that time that when I meet them. In that 5 hours, they start by mixing all the flour, and I sort of try to assimilate that when you mix all the flour with water, that it's just messy. It's just this horrible sort of junky sort of mess which people can just look at, and that's the way people's lives get. You know, it just gets into this sort of state of just despair, state of worry, state of panic, state of anxiety, and a lot of people's lives are like that.
Yeah.
And so when you mix all the flowers together, that's what people are seeing. And then I say, look, you just got to leave it. So after you've left it for an hour, everything just slowly this is by using obviously the starter, which is the sourdough mother, so to speak. You put that in, and then it just all of the gluten bonds start to work together, and it draws all of the flour into like this amazing space where it just becomes like this amazing sort of stringy, incredible piece of dough, which isn't what it was at the beginning. And it's something which, I mean, obviously, and it takes time. You know, it's not just a sudden add the water and it happens. It takes time, and over this sort of process. So every hour, the first hour, you're waiting. That's when I teach people about mindfulness. I teach people how the two are very sort of suited for each other and how they sort of match each other, so to speak. And then we do another sort of, we put salt in the dough, then we wait another half an hour. And then that next half an hour, I will either introduce them to a new technique, introduce them to a guided meditation or something like that. And then after that half an hour, I then show them how to make pizza, and then they all make their own pizza, make delicious lunch. And the pizzas which obviously are created are so delicious. Sourdough pizzas.
They look amazing. I haven't had the pleasure to try them yet, but they look epic. So basically, Tim, you're making a little bit of a metaphor between what bread is and life, because bread is alive, right? And it's a process until you get your sourdough ready and you cook. How did you fall into bread making personally as Tim?
So in terms of mindfulness, I've been a mindfulness instructor for the last 3 years, and 2 years ago I hosted a party, and my cousin-in-law, he came along and he brought 2 loaves of sourdough, and I was just like, that's such an inspirational gift to give to people, because obviously normally people just give crap wine, but this was just so lovely to have some really lovely bread, and obviously I devoured it. And I said to him, you'll have to teach me how to do it. And lo and behold, he took me up on that offer. And like a few weeks later, he was like, right, you coming to do it? I was like, okay. Yeah, I wasn't quite sure of, I really wanted to do it. Anyway, I did it. And then the day he taught me, everything just clicked into place. And I was like, yes, and it's like to do with my, and obviously it wasn't an instantaneous thing. I did then spend the next sort of 6 months just working on the art of sourdough baking, and then working out how to sort of place the two, mindfulness and bread making, sourdough bread making, together. And I've just come up with this amazing concept. And I adore sort of bringing people around, because obviously it's a tangible way of showing people how to lead a mindful existence, rather than just telling them things and telling them how to meditate. It's a way I can say, look, this is how your life is, and I will show them like the dough which they've created, and then over the 5 hours. So, you know, like I was saying, you know, instead of just being this messy clump, you know, it just becomes beautiful creation which you have made by putting the time in. And that's exactly how I obviously integrate it with mindfulness. And you know, if you just put a little bit of time into your life, you know, however messed up it is at the moment, just by giving it that extra little bit of time, that extra little bit of concentration and love to yourself, because it's teaching people how to love themselves, because that's what so many people have stopped doing, is loving themselves.
Absolutely,
you know, they all think yes, we've got to love everyone apart from ourselves. And people often confuse loving themselves with arrogance. No, it's not that at all.
There is, I read this article from Lily Webb. She's also one very, you know, psychologist, influencer, very inspirational woman. And she was talking about how important it is that we learn to be kind with ourselves. Otherwise, it won't work, and you have to learn to love yourself, to respect your flaws, and be kind to you. So the workshops that you were describing, Tim, that obviously because of coronavirus you've stopped, but they will be launched very soon, hopefully, and then we will add the link to the video so people can sign up and reserve their slot. It seems to be quite an intimate dynamic. How big are the groups that come over to yours and you teach the mindfulness and cooking bread?
So at the moment, I can only fit 5 people into the course when I host it at my house. Like my house, my kitchen, you know, it's quite a good size. It's got a good island, and then everyone goes around the island. But any more than 5, it wouldn't really work. I'm very happy to go out to other people's houses and teach courses there for up to sort of 10, 15 people. And that's I mean, that's where it is. But at the moment, I just host for 5 people, and I probably do 6 people for the pizza evening. But the pizza's less about mindfulness, even though they're 2 very different techniques, making the pizza dough and making the sourdough bread. But the pizza one is much quicker. Anyway, but it's enjoyable, and
so
it's a great way of just.
So basically at this time, Tim, people can either go to your house and have an experience and be in a group of 5 with random people and join this journey, or they can get a group together, invite you over as an instructor and a teacher, and you will bring that knowledge. But I also know that currently you're working on a very exciting YouTube channel. What can people find in your channel and your social media currently? How are you engaging with your fans?
Yeah, so at the moment, with this lockdown scenario we're all in, I've decided to show people obviously how to make sourdough and how to make a selection of just different items which are very easy to make and aren't things which you would normally expect to just go down the shop and get straight away. And it's giving people the time, because obviously we have a lot of time on our hands now in one place. Why not utilize that time and make something good of it? And I know a lot of people are helping people do this in exactly the same way, and that's incredible. All credit to everyone who's doing this to help everyone, because some people will be experiencing a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, and I think depression is going to be rife once we come out of this situation. But I'm obviously here hoping to help as many people as possible out of this potential depression which might be sweeping the nation, because everyone's stuck in one place and all they can do is just I guess what people are doing, and what I'm trying to explain with mindfulness is that this situation has happened. You know, there's nothing you can do about it, so don't dwell. And that's what causes people to depress, is the dwelling on the past. And then obviously the anxiety is then thinking about what the future is going to be. So obviously you've got the depression, you've got the anxiety, and the two sort of combined together will cause absolute mayhem in your mind. So I am here to help people, and a lot of other people are here to help people, just to somehow work their way out of the sort of pit of despair they're in. and utilizing all of these different techniques I found. And I'm not just sort of sticking to cooking techniques. I will be sort of doing sort of exercise regimes over the course of this lockdown period, and sort of, I mean, lots of different techniques and ways to make people just feel a little bit happier about themselves.
Yeah, I think what creates anxiety is this idea of uncertainty. So it's uncertain times, we don't know what's here to come. You're talking about coronavirus and how you're helping your followers, giving them ideas to stay, live in the moment and experience the moment. Maybe give us, if you feel like it, a couple of takeaways. Give us 3 tips of things that we can do in our everyday to embrace mindfulness and embrace a healthy lifestyle now that we're all stuck home.
I think, well, as a lot of people think that meditation is this period of time you spend just breathing and closing your eyes and not doing anything, but that isn't what meditation is. And I every morning I wake up, I sort of meditate for 20 minutes, but obviously if you've never meditated before, that is a long time, so don't do that. So set yourself sort of 5 minutes every morning, just to practice meditation. And obviously guided meditations help. So if you want to find a guided meditation, just go to Google and type guided meditations.
Absolutely.
But if you have no ability to sort of access the internet on one morning and you think you want to meditate, for example, one of the best ways of doing it I found is by visualizing numbers. So I always visualize, I count to 10, and every single number I will visualize as a symbol or as an object.
Okay.
So for example, number 1, I will be sitting on the beach and I will draw a line down the sand, and that will be a number 1. Then I will look out into the sea. There will be a swan, which looks like a number 2.
Yeah.
Then I will go over to the swan, it will open its wings, and from its wings flurry a load of hearts shaped like a number 3 at the top, which just come all over me and just give me this peace. Then I look out further into the water and I see a boat, a sailing boat, which looks like a number 4. I swim over to the sailing boat, I get on board, and there's a door. And as I approach the door, there's a door knocker, which looks like a number 5. I knock on the door, and this elephant opens it. This elephant's tusk looks like a number 6. Now I run to the back of the boat, and there's a diving board, and the diving board against the boat looks like a number 7. I dive into an egg timer, which looks like a number 8. And as I swirl down the bottom with all this art circulating me instead of sand, I then reach the bottom and I see a rope, and I hold onto the rope, and it's attached to this massive helium balloon. And so with the rope and the helium balloon, it looks like number 9. And it whisks me up into the air, further and further and further. And as I look up, balloon is getting bigger and bigger, and then suddenly it just explodes, and I see this 10 flash in front of me, and I'm just back in the same position as I am, whether I'm sitting or if I'm standing or whether I'm lying down, whatever. And you just see yourself, you visualize yourself in this present moment, right back where you are, after just using this one technique, which just helps people just to find their sort of their present moment. And that's what the mindfulness is all about.
That's amazing. That's a great meditation takeaway that I've never heard of. It's like a little journey, like you're traveling somewhere, which is something that we're all quite eager about as we're in lockdown.
Yeah, and it just helps because obviously everyone knows that count to 10, and that's meditating and breathing. Because everyone talks about breathing, and breathing is very important because that's the one thing you do every single second of your life, breathing.
Yeah.
So obviously that's one thing you can focus on because that's always there. You focus on your breath, breathe in, you focus on your breath, breathe out. And that's a great way of doing it. But a lot of people just don't have the concentration to just keep focusing on their breath. So I use this technique just to give people whose sort of attention is often swaying around a way to utilize the sort of visualization techniques and just count from 1 to 10 and utilize it by just seeing all these different objects and figurines.
That's amazing. Tim, to finish up, you have, I guess, many projects coming up. You have a lot of, you have groups on Facebook, you have your page, you have your YouTube channel. And as you said, which I think makes your project such a special one, is you're here to help. And your ultimate goal is to help all of us understand time, understand life, understand what it is to be in the moment, and to get back the ownership of our existence, because it seemed like that we've kind of, especially in London, lost it a little bit in this race. How what projects do you have coming? What's coming next for you?
What's coming next? Well, I certainly, during lockdown, I have been making bread and pizza for the local community on the Nextdoor app. I put a post out a few weeks ago just saying, if anyone wants any bread or pizza, let me know. And I've just been inundated. So today I've made 40 balls.
I saw that on your Instagram, yeah.
So you only saw 20, so I'm making another. So I made 20 today, and I'm doing another 20 tomorrow. And yeah, it's incredible, and people are just they love it. And it's just a really good way, and I mean, it tastes amazing, and it's I'm not charging the world for it.
Yeah.
People are loving it, so it's quite a good way. So in terms of that, for the sort of present moment right now, that's what I'm doing in just trying to sort of help people.
Very big fan.
Do different things, because a lot of people want bread, and because of all the panic buying, there's so little really good things left anymore.
Yeah.
And it's been so hard for me to find flour. I put an order in 3 weeks ago, and now it's finally arrived. Normally it would take a couple of days, but now I've got that. I mean, although I'm thinking I might run out again in the next 2 weeks, so I'm going to put another order in now. But then after that, so I think you mentioned my YouTube channel. That's quite a big thing. I'm really sort of looking at now, and just using it to help as many people as possible all around the world. So because obviously with my course, it's generally a fairly localized thing. Obviously, if you live around London. I mean, although saying that, because it is on Airbnb, all of my Airbnb clients did come from around the world. So that was good. But that was obviously a lot of planning for them. Whereas with the YouTube channel, what I'm doing is something they can do there and then. They can sort of obviously utilize their time in a much more efficient way just by watching my channel. And it's something I hated doing it at the very beginning, because I don't like sort of videoing myself and just sort of looking stupid. But the more you do it, the more you get used to it, and I'm enjoying it now, and I'm getting comments now.
Yeah, the feedback, right? You're understanding that it's so powerful that you're in people's house thanks to YouTube channel, and you have the capability to share your experience and your knowledge with the world. So that's something really beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just lovely to be able to help in that way, and it's something which I'm guessing will just organically grow.
Yeah. Because
I don't have a phenomenal amount of followers yet, but the more I do it and the more I keep pushing it, people will like me, hopefully, and I will be able to start just getting my message out to a lot more people.
Fantastic.
Because I found with mindfulness, a lot of people, and certainly because until I found the baking, I was having a lot of trouble finding people to teach mindfulness, because my sort of main demographic was from, I sort of came from a sort of a city-esque type background, so I thought they are the perfect clientele to try to attract. But none of them were interested at all in mindfulness. They're just like mindfulness. I was trying to explain how mindfulness can help save them, and this, that, and the other, save them in their mind, not whatever. But it had no impact on them. And then as soon as I integrated the baking with it, people's interest suddenly perked up a bit. They were like, oh, that's quite good. And sometimes people, when I do a baking workshop, they don't want to know about mindfulness, although they do. They say just put a few things in, but don't teach us too much. But I'm happy with that. But it's something which is growing, and hopefully, it will start to just slowly revolutionize the way that people can sort of utilize their minds to help them see things much clearer.
Fantastic. Well, Tim, we're all looking forward to this lockdown to finish, and then they can also book their slot in their Airbnb experience with yourself and have the workshop, as well as follow you on on YouTube and on your social media channels. Thanks, Tim. We will put all the information in the description of the video, and we'll keep updated on what's next on your feed. Thank you.
That's great. Thanks so much.
Thanks.